I almost pity him for putting up with Violet. There's a twist that truly was so shocking to me. I just don't like this book enough to spend any money on it. Like literally not even if I could find it for just €5. Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I am starting a new vlog and it's gonna be a little bit different than my normal ones because I just finished my university semester like 2 days ago, give or take. And so I have a little bit more free time than I've had for the past several weeks. And it was the most stressful, difficult university semester I've had so far. And I really just don't want to do anything now. I just want to vegetate. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to see how much I can possibly read in this next week from Monday until Sunday, because I start my next university semester in, I believe, 2.5 weeks, give or take. And I really only have this time right now. So I'm just gonna take you guys along with me and see what I can possibly finish. I will start off by listing some stats. I have my Kindle here so that I can check what I've got on here, and I've already written down what I've got on my phone, on Libby. Sorry. I have the fan going because it is so unbelievably hot. If you see my hair fly in front of my face, I'm sorry. So on my Kindle, books that I am in the process of reading that I would like to ideally finish or at least make quite a bit of progress on this coming week would be, for starters, Harry Potter. It's in Spanish, so it's Harry Potter y la piedra filosofal, which is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. And I'm 56% of the way finished with this, and I've been working on this book for literal months. This is one of my New Year's resolutions, to finally finish a novel in Spanish. I finished novellas in Spanish, I finished so many kids books, I finished folk stories in Spanish, etc. But I've never actually finished a novel. That really bothers me, and it's something that I really want to change. Then I've got Dark Skies and Dark Shores. I am 15% of the way finished with Dark Shores, and I am 23% of the way finished with Dark Skies. I'll put the link for the tandem read in the description below if you want to give it a go. Danielle Jensen has it on her website. She said herself that she wrote these books as one single book, but it was too big and her editor told her not to publish that because nobody would read it. And he basically said split it in 2 books. So that's what she did. And then don't have anything else on my Kindle, I guess. Those are just all books that I've already read or other books that I own. And so that's what I've got on my Kindle. On Libby, I've got Just for the Summer by Jimenez, and I'm roughly 40% finished with that book. That's an audiobook, and I believe I only have maybe 7 more days to finish that. So that one is also a high priority. Then I've got Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros, an audiobook. And I believe as of this morning, I'm 56% of the way through with that book. That is a 29-hour long audiobook though. So 56% of the way through is nothing. Like, I still have so much more work to do to finish it. I mean, it's really not work. Like, I'll just like clean the house and put it on in the background. But I have to really prioritize that because I believe for that one I only have 10 days to finish it, maybe 9 now. Like I said, I'm more than halfway through, but again, it's a 29-hour long audiobook, so that's not saying that much. And then the final book that I've got on Libby is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber, and that's also an audiobook. And that audiobook, I believe, is only 10 hours, maybe 11 hours. Her books are usually quite short. And I'm super excited to read that. Last month, or not even last month, actually it was this month, the beginning of this month, from like July 1st to maybe July 7th, I think within a week, I read all 3 books in the Caraval series. So that's Caraval, and then Legendary, and then Finale. And I listened to all of them in preparation for this book because I saw finally that it was available on Libby, and all 3 of them were available on Libby. I didn't want to start it until all of them were available because I really don't like reading a series if it's not complete and if I don't have access to all of the books. So now it's finally complete. I've got access to all of the books. The second one is already queued up in my holds list. Hopefully it will be available in roughly 2 weeks. And also, I have these books that I really, really, really want to read. If you know German, maybe you know what they are. You can see right off the bat, it's from Meg Cabot. So maybe you know what it is. I mentioned it on my channel last month, I want to say. It was when I did my ranking every single 5-star read that I've ever read, which I'll link up at the top so that you can view that if you want. When I was younger, I read this series by Meg Cabot, and it's called the Mediator series. And it was my favorite series when I was younger. I'm talking like late middle school, give or take, up through high school. I think I read it maybe 3 times until I was graduated from high school. And then I think I read it again once I moved to Germany. I bought them in German, or at least I bought 4, 5, and 6, which is disappointing. So that means I have to find 1 through 3 at my local library, or I have to find it on Libby. But I checked and it's not at the library that I normally use for Libby, where all of my other Libby books are from, on my Kindle and my audiobooks. They don't have anything from Meg Cabot at all. I really want to read these so bad. I've read it 4 times total, I want to say. And I really just want to read it a 5th time. I want to go through the entire series again. These are in German. I really don't actually want to read it in German right now. I only bought it in German when I moved here because I was learning German, and I wanted to read something that's not too difficult and something that I've already read in English many times. For me, the perfect option was the Mediator series and also Harry Potter. And I would love to read these in Spanish, but I just don't think I'm there yet. I want to finish Harry Potter in Spanish first, and then maybe I'll read these in Spanish one day, but today is not that day. I think I'm just going to try to find all of them in English somewhere. I just can't get it out of my head, and I know there's other books that I should be reading, some that I have to read because it's on Libby, and I can't get it again because, for example, Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez has 6 people waiting after me. So if I can't finish it in the next 7 days, I have to wait 6 times 14 days. That is an incredibly long time. That's months, and I'm not going to wait months again, but I just cannot get the Mediator series out of my head. I have to read it. And also, like, they're not that small, and there's 6 of them. So, like, how many pages is this? This is, the German version at least, is 285. That's actually really short. I don't know why this book looks so thick to me. Do I want to read a 1,800 page saga right now with everything else that I have to read? Or do I want to read it instead, but then I lose out on a ton of books on Libby? I don't know. So yeah, we will see how much I am able to get finished this week, but I will take you along with me, and I will share updates throughout. But this vlog, I think, since I'm going to be reading so much, I'm not gonna give super in-depth thoughts or anything. I think I'm really just going to briefly say what I'm thinking about the book, kind of just give updates on percentages and like pages, like how far I am through it. You could just check out the monthly recap to see what my thoughts are on these books. So I'm not going to waste that much time on this vlog talking about them, but I'll give you like a little sprinkle of what I'm feeling, just so you know. Anyways, I will see you in a later update for this vlog. Bye. Hi, so quick update. Yesterday, I did not read anything physically. I really wanted to read Dark Skies, Dark Shores, but I just didn't have any time, and so I was just listening to audiobooks while I was doing other things. I listened to a good bit of both Iron Flame and Just for the Summer yesterday. I'm now 67% finished with Just for the Summer and 68% finished with Iron Flame. And so they're very, very, very similar. However, I will say it goes by like that with Just for the Summer. And with Iron Flame, I feel like I've been reading it for years already, and I'm only 68% of the way through with it. But it's definitely picking up a lot in Iron Flame. I'm liking it much more than I liked it before. I'm still not like, I don't know, blown away with it or anything. Like I said before, Violet's just really annoying me. And I just really don't like her in this continuation of the series. But I do really like Xaden, which is weird. I've really flip-flopped. I almost pity him for putting up with Violet, like in the beginning of the book. And I think maybe that's kind of what triggered it. Like I was pitying him, and then I kind of was like, you know, actually he's pretty cool. And the more I read it, the more I just like gravitate towards him and away from Violet. As I said, things are really picking up now. I'm liking the direction things are moving in. It's not there yet, but I'm liking the direction. And so we'll see if I continue to. And just for the summer, I'm really, really liking a lot. I'm actually shocked by how much I'm enjoying it. It's a contemporary romance book, and if you know me at all, then you know that I read contemporary romance books every once in a while because I use them as palate cleansers in between like finishing a big series or reading a really complicated epic fantasy book or something. And so I don't read them super often, but I also don't not read them often. And usually they're just 3 stars for me. And the last contemporary romance book I read before this was The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston, and I absolutely loved that book so much. I gave it 4.5 stars and rounded up to 5. That shocked me because I've never in my entire life given a contemporary romance book such a high rating. That was like heads above every other contemporary romance book I've ever read. And this book, Just for the Summer, by Abby Jimenez, is potentially going to also be a 5-star read. I think also 4.5 stars rounded up to 5. Not 100% sure yet. We'll see, but I'm really, really liking it so far. The main character, Emma, really bothers me sometimes. I think she's a very dysfunctional adult, but I think that's kind of the point. I don't know. It's just very clear she's dysfunctional, and it stems from her mom. And I feel like that's a big plot point in this book, that she simultaneously has really healthy coping habits with things, like really healthy ideas and things, the way that she talks about things, but then also so unhealthy and like so toxic the way that she says and talks about things sometimes. I don't know. She's like this really weird combination of incredibly dysfunctional and also incredibly functional. She just drives me crazy sometimes, like the way that she gets annoyed with people for trying to help her cope better and be more functional and set boundaries with her crazy, crazy, crazy mother. That bothers me a lot. But other than that, I do really like it. I really, really like Justin as a character. I think he's very cool. He's very sweet, taking care of his siblings and everything, like his whole backstory. I think he sounds like an amazing guy. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know why I chose to wear a black shirt today. At least he's happy. That's all that matters. So quick update, today is Thursday. I read a little bit of everything yesterday, or listened to and read a little bit of everything. I listened to Just for the Summer and Iron Flame, and I read Dark Shores and Dark Skies, and I read like 2 pages of Harry Potter in Spanish. Not that much. I thought I would have more energy before I went to bed, and then I started reading it and I just got so tired so quick. But I just wanted to mention that, you know, I tried to read more and I put in a little bit of effort to reading more, even if I only read like, I think it was like 3 clicks with my Kindle, which probably is like 2 pages. I don't know. I've got my text pretty big on my Kindle, not like, you know, boomer grandma kind of big, but just like a little bit bigger than it comes, because especially when I'm reading it at night, I really don't want to strain my eyes. And I think the Kindle is so perfect, like you never really have eye strain, but I just don't want to push it. So I don't want it super small. If I'm reading during the day and I have it light and not like on the dark version where it's black, then maybe I'll have it smaller so that I don't have to click so often. Like if I'm feeling lazy, which by the way, real quick side note, I want that Kindle thing so bad where you can lay in bed and it's like an arm that holds your Kindle for you and you just push a button and it just goes through the pages. I want it so bad. But it's like $40, 40 euros, at least on German Amazon, and I can't find it anywhere else in Germany. I don't know what the price is like in the US, but I cannot find it for cheaper. And I just don't know if I could justify spending $40 on that. I don't know. So anyways, I think I read roughly 3 pages in Spanish, in Harry Potter in Spanish. And then Dark Skies and Dark Shores. I have my Kindle right here. You can see Dark Skies. I'm 37% of the way through, and Dark Shores, I'm 27% of the way through. I'm quite happy I'm making some progress. It just feels like, because I'm reading the tandem read of them together, it feels like it's never ending. And I feel like I'm not making any progress at all. I feel like, honestly, Justin in Just for the Summer, which if you've read it, he is like in the water at one point in time, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but he's trying to get to somewhere and he's swimming in the water on a floaty because he doesn't have any other options. And he is just paddling and paddling and paddling. And he just feels like he's never getting closer to the place that he needs to go to. And it feels like it's never ending. And then all of a sudden he's like right there. And I feel like that's Dark Skies and Dark Shores. Like, I just feel like I'm running a never ending race and I'm not getting any closer to the finish line. But then when I look at the numbers, I guess I actually am. Simultaneously, a lot has happened and like nothing has happened. I'm not going to get super into it with those books because there's just like so much to unpack, and also I don't really know how I'm feeling yet. Like, I'm really enjoying it more than I was before, for sure, especially Dark Skies with Lydia and Killian. I'm really liking that one, and I find myself constantly wanting to read that book instead of Dark Shores. I'm really not sold on Dark Shores yet. I will say it was at the 30% mark when I really started liking Dark Skies, and I'm at 27% in Dark Shores. So I still have 3%. Maybe some things will happen and maybe I'll fall in love with it in the next 3%. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm just liking Lydia and Killian as characters a lot more than I'm liking Tariana and Marcus. And I honestly think if I had not read the backstory on Marcus, if I've not read Tarnished Empire before I started this, I would not have liked Marcus at all. He's very unlikable in this book, honestly. Like, she makes it seem like he's really tormented by the decisions he's making, but he still makes them in the end. And so I just don't really care if he's tormented. I don't really care if he's a good person on the inside, but then he makes bad person decisions. He's still making the bad person decisions all of the time. And so I just really don't like him in this book. But because I know his backstory, and because I saw him make good decisions in Tarnished Empire at least, and because I know he really genuinely is a good person, he's just in a really bad position in this book and making some bad choices again and again and again. Because I read Tarnished Empire, I don't hate him, but I don't like him in this book. And I'm just waiting for him to become likable. And I feel like every time I pick up that book, it's like he does another thing that makes me dislike him. I would say on the character scale, like 10 being I'm absolutely obsessed with this character, 1 being I absolutely hate this character, Marcus right now is like a 3. And Tariana is like a 5, I guess. Like, I really don't feel any way about her. I'm very just neutral. Maybe a 4, because she did do some things and think some things about a person, which if you've read this book, then you know, but I'm not going to spoil it. But she thinks some things about a friend that are so off base, and she doesn't even question it. She just like immediately jumps to that conclusion. And that made me so angry, because if she's your friend, why would you not think better? Why would you just immediately jump to the worst conclusion? I don't know, just doesn't really seem like a good friend to me. And so I guess I would say 4 for her. So 3 for Marcus, 4 for Tariana, which is why I don't like that book as much as the other one. Because Lydia, I would say, is probably a 7. I'm not super crazy about her, but I do like her as a character for the most part. And then Killian, I would say, is like an 8.5. Maybe even a 9. They're carrying the entire series for me right now at this point in time. And then Iron Flame, I also listened to quite a bit yesterday. I'm at 70%, and I know you're probably thinking, you were already almost there yesterday. How could you have listened to a lot? This audiobook is 28 hours. I'm honestly kind of sick of listening to it. It's not that I dislike the book that much. I'm not super crazy about it either, but it's due in 4 days now, and I'm only 70% of the way through, and it's a 28-hour long audiobook. So that last 30% is hours and hours, which really sucks. I know that I really have to push through and just finish it because like this book is so in demand. If I cannot finish this, I am not going to see an ebook copy, an audiobook copy, a physical copy anywhere, even in German. I'm not gonna see it for months. I don't even think my German library has it yet because it's so new. And so then I'd have to wait for it to arrive. Then I'd have to wait in line. And so if I can't finish this, then I'm not going to be able to listen to it or to read it for months more while I wait to get it back. And I really don't want to do that because it's not like I'm super crazy about it. I just feel like my desire to even finish it at all would completely wane away if I had to wait that long. So I really want to finish it now. But yeah, that's where I am with that. And also, I was thinking about why I dislike Violet so much in this book. And I think it's for a few reasons. I kind of narrowed them down, actually. For starters, this book is like way more vulgar than the first one in terms of cursing. I feel like every 5 minutes in the audiobook, there's the F word. Violet, like every single time she's confused, every single time she's shocked, just like a million times in this book, she says, what the F? And it's really grating on my nerves, and I don't think that it fits her character, and I think it's a really weird choice that the author made to be so explicit in this regard in the book, and also in the sex regard. The whole book is just explicit in like every possible way. And I don't think that it fits Violet, and I think that's why I dislike her a lot in this book, and I think that's why I'm not enjoying this book as much as the first one. It's like the vulgarities, and also it really takes you out of the book, I feel like, because I don't know if it's just me, but when somebody says what the F, that sounds so modern to me. Like I could never see like a peasant from the 1400s when he gets confused or angry at something saying like, what the F? Like, I could not picture that. I just feel like every time she says it, it's just weird to me, and it pulls me right out of the story. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. And I also think she's more explicit in the way she's thinking and talking about Xaden in this book. Like in the first book, it was like, oh, he's so beautiful, the most beautiful man I've ever seen. I want to climb him like a tree, like blah, 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 which I can live with that. It's not my favorite to read about it all the time. I wish it was not there, but I can survive it. But what I cannot survive is like constantly thinking about all the times that they've slept together and exactly what they've done and exactly what they're going to do next time. And I don't know, it's just so vulgar, like her constantly thinking about that, like really a lot, constantly doing that. Then so many smut scenes, like really gory, smut scenes, so to speak, very explicit. And then constantly saying curse words and everything. And it's like, to me, the Violet in the first book was like so different. She was so sweet and like almost innocent in a way, and like kind of reserved and very gentle for the most part. Like, I mean, she did, poison people and whatnot, but for the most part, like, I don't know, I just feel like she had a gentle spirit in a way, I guess. I don't know. And I know that's kind of the point of the book, that the whole writer's quadrant and like school and everything, like it's transformed her to be somebody who she never intended to be. She wanted to be a scribe and live a completely different life. And now she's been pushed into this. And so it's transformed her personality. But I don't know, I just wish it would not have transformed her personality so much. And I think that's why I dislike her so much, because it just feels very inauthentic, and it feels like like it was such a crazy, crazy, crazy jump. I just don't like it. I don't think it fits her. So yeah, it's kind of unfortunate that this is a 5-book series, because honestly, I would be okay if it finished after this book, let alone 3 more books after I finish this one. And if they're all this long, like, it's so many hours of audiobook. I don't think I can bring myself not to finish it, because I think I would just want to know what happens. But also, I don't know if I can finish it, because if it keeps going like this, then I don't think that I would want to finish it, because I just don't like her anymore as a character. I just really don't like how her personality has turned out. I'm rambling too long today, so I'm really quickly going to finish. I saved Just for the Summer for last because I finished it, which is so exciting. I returned it to the library. I really enjoyed it. I also really enjoyed there was a question and answer afterwards at the end of the audiobook, which is one reason why I like audiobooks so much. I feel like usually there's fun things at the end, like bonus content, and they had a huge question and answer with Abby Jimenez herself. And I really enjoyed it. And I also discovered that a lot of the characters in this book are characters from her other 2 books in the Part of Your World series. And they're all standalone books. And so I thought that I wouldn't want to or need to read the other 2 books at all. But actually, I kind of wish that I would have, because I feel like there were a lot of characters whose names were like just thrown out there one single time, and I was really confused balancing all of the characters at the end of the book, and like they really weren't described much at all. And so I feel like I was thrown in the deep end of the pool a little bit, and now I understand why. Is because she's already introduced them, and the couples come together in the first 2 books. I wish somebody would have said that. Like, I wish they would have said they're standalone books, but they are moderately connected. Like Neil, the guy who Emma and her friend Maddie are renting their little like cabin from, I guess he was a big part in one of the other books, and I guess he was kind of a bad guy. But then in this book, like, to me, it didn't come off like that, because he said he was trying to be a good guy. And so to me, it seemed like he was really a good guy. And I kind of liked him until the end. You know, I was like, wow, he's really sweet. Like, he's being so patient and understanding. And then at the end of the book, she was talking about, I guess, how awful he was in one of the other books. I don't know, completely missed that experience. So my recommendation is, if you're thinking about reading it and you're up to it, read the other 2 ones first and read them in order, because they kind of stack on each other, I guess. But my thoughts about the book, again, if you want to hear my full thoughts, check out my monthly recap, because I really don't want to make this a super, super long video, so I'm going to try to be quick. But I did really enjoy it. I gave it 4 stars, and just a solid 4, not 4.5 rounded down, but just 4. And that's mostly because I really, really liked the beginning, and I thought it was really fun. I thought the pacing was great, and just the plot and everything. But then at the end, the pacing for me wasn't as nice, and I kind of feel like the resolution was very anticlimactic. I'm not going to spoil anything, but the main girl, Emma, finally goes to therapy, which she so desperately needed. The entire book, she needed her entire life. She's like almost 30 or something. And in just 6 months, she completely recovers from PTSD and trauma. I mean, I guess they didn't say it was completely recovered, but it was really heavily implied that she was so recovered that it wouldn't be an issue anymore, which I think is really crazy. I just wish like it would have been more realistic that it's not going to happen in 6 months after 30 years of trauma. And like at the end of the book, there's a twist that truly was so shocking to me. I don't think I've ever been so shocked in a book in my entire life. Like, I had to pause it for like at least 5 minutes to just comprehend what happened, and I could not even comprehend it then. I was so shocked. It just made me so angry. Like, if you've read the book, you know, and if you've not, you will get there. I'm not gonna spoil anything right now, but it's just like the twist was shocking when it happened, and the twist itself was shocking, and it's just came so out of the blue. Like, so out of the blue. Like in murder mysteries, you know that there's gonna be a twist and you're looking for hints the whole time, you know, or like detective crime novels or thrillers, like there's hints dropped along the way. I don't think there was a single hint. I don't know if I just missed all of them, but I cannot remember a single hint saying anything about this. Like, it just blew me away. Like, I was so shocked. But anyways, I just feel like that whole twist and then processing it and everything, that's for sure taking longer than 6 months. Like, for 30 years of her life, she was really dysfunctional and she had this really, really, really heavy flight response. Like, if anything went wrong, if she got too attached or anything, she would just be gone. She could not stay anywhere. She was physically incapable of bonding to people, attaching to people, staying anywhere. That's the whole point of the novel, that she was struggling with this the whole time. And then at the end, it was like 6 months of therapy, and then she doesn't have any issues anymore. Like, I don't know. I just think the ending was very anticlimactic, and I didn't like it. I wish that it was done differently, and it really kind of made me sad because I liked the whole rest of the book so much, and then the ending hit you and it was just like, is that it? So yeah, that's everything for all of the books. I don't know how much time I'm gonna have to read today. My husband and I, it's our 2-year anniversary in a couple of days, and as a present to ourselves, we went halvesies on a PlayStation 5, and I am so excited. I have like never been more excited to get a gift in my entire life. Like, I was so pumped. I had to work last night, and I like work from home, and I was just like sitting here on the couch waiting for him, and every time I'd hear a noise, I would like jump up and like look at the front door, and then he like walks in and he's holding it, and it was like the best thing ever. It's so exciting. And so we have it. I'm like looking over here because I'm looking at it. There's the box, and then there's the PlayStation right there. It's so exciting. That's like, unfortunately, temptation number 1 for me to not read. Who the heck knows what I'm gonna do? I don't know. I'm gonna make lunch today, and I think I'll probably listen to an audiobook when I make lunch, so at least I'll have that. And then we've got our small group today where we go into the city and we like meet to have a Bible study and whatnot with our friends. And I'll bring my Kindle with me so I could read on the train if I want to. It's like a 20-minute train drive. We'll see how talkative my husband is. Sometimes he just wants to kind of take a nap on the train ride, and then I'll read, and sometimes he wants to talk. And so whatever mood he's in will determine if I get much reading done at all today. And then usually we come back quite late from our small group, like 11, sometimes midnight. And so normally I just kind of roll into bed and maybe listen to a podcast, because I'm re-listening to my favorite podcast, Tales from the Stinky Dragon. It's like the best podcast ever. It's so funny. I love it so much. It's a D&D podcast, so Dungeons and Dragons. And it's from, well, not anymore, but it was from Rooster Teeth, but Rooster Teeth is kind of disbanded now, which breaks my heart. It's so sad. I was with them like from the beginning, like, I don't even know, like 15 years ago, if not more. But anyways, I usually listen to that podcast. I'm listening to it from the beginning again. And so if I like pass out sleeping in the middle of it, it really doesn't matter. I'm not missing anything. And so when I'm really tired, I always listen to that podcast instead of any audiobooks. And I don't think if we come back at midnight, I'm going to even try to listen to an audiobook at all. I think I would just put on a podcast and go to sleep. So who knows? Tomorrow, my Friday update might not be much of anything at all. And if not, then you know why. It's because of this thing right here, this PlayStation. I'm just gonna give you a quick update because I didn't do that much reading yesterday. Today is Friday, which is crazy. Like, the work week is already over, and I now just have 2 more days for the weekend. Well, technically today, and then 2 more days for the weekend to try to finish everything I possibly can. And I'm not really sure how much I'm going to be able to finish this weekend. It's my husband and I's anniversary next week during the week. And so we're celebrating it tomorrow. We're going to a Hochseilgarten or Kletterwald. I'll put a picture here so that you can see what it looks like and what it is. But basically it's just like an obstacle course in the air that you get clipped onto in the forest. And we're going south of us, so it's even closer to the Alps, and you have like this gorgeous view of the forest and the Alps and everything, and it's so nice. And then we're just gonna kind of explore some cities around there and spend the entire day. So I have no idea if I'm gonna be able to do any reading at all tomorrow. I think today I should be able to get a little bit done. We'll see. But I definitely really, really want to keep reading Dark Skies, especially not necessarily Dark Shores. Still not really growing on me yet, but I will admit I think I only read one chapter since my last update, and Dark Skies, I read maybe 3 or 4 chapters. I don't know where my Kindle is right now. So I'm not sure about like the exact percentages, but it's definitely not increased that much since my last update, unfortunately. But I was able to read at least a little bit, so I'm happy that it wasn't nothing yesterday, because I'm pretty sure it will be nothing tomorrow. And Sunday, I'm also not sure how much time I'm gonna have, but I will give you an update. I'm kind of burnt out on audiobooks in general. I just would much rather be listening to music. And I have not listened to music that much lately because I've swapped out all the times that I listen to music for listening to audiobooks. And I'm like the type of person who's always in the top, I don't know, 5%, if not even like 1% of listeners on Spotify. Like I always listen to over 100,000 hours on Spotify just for music every year, like absolute minimum 100,000, sometimes closer to 150,000. And so I really listen to a lot of music normally. I'm constantly listening to it. I've got thousands and thousands and thousands of songs on my Spotify playlists. And I don't know, music is just a huge part of my life. And as I said, I've swapped out really this week for like this challenge so that I can read as much as I possibly can or listen to as much as I possibly can. I've swapped out all of my music listening sessions for audiobooks. So when I'm cleaning, instead of just playing music and kind of dancing around, I'm listening to an audiobook. Or when I'm cooking, I'm listening to an audiobook instead of music. Or when I'm getting ready for the day, it's an audiobook instead of music. And I don't know, I just like, it changes things. Like when I'm listening to music, it's so much fun and I can kind of like jump around or dance around. It's like very high energy and it gives me energy. And so there are times when I think that it's really great actually to listen to an audiobook, and I'm glad that I'm doing this challenge, and I'm glad that I've swapped out some of my music listening for an audiobook, because I feel like I am achieving a lot more, like I'm really getting a lot finished. But I also feel like there are times where you just shouldn't. Like when I'm getting ready, I don't want to listen to an audiobook. I only want to listen to music. And so I think I'm going to kind of cool my jets a little bit, even though I should be finishing Iron Flame really as soon as possible. It is due in just 3 days now. And I'm afraid I really, really need to finish the final 30%. But that's 10% every single day, and I can't do anything tomorrow, I'm sure. So, yeah, I'm kind of like at a loss right now, because then that's 15% that I should be listening to today. And 15% of 28 hours is a lot. Like, it's a lot. Even though I'm listening to it on 1.3 times the speed, it's still so much that I have to listen to in a single day. And I don't know if I can do it. We'll see. Hi, so quick update with my catfish. I am giving an update for Friday because I didn't give one on Saturday, and I'm also giving an update on Saturday. The update for Saturday is I did not read at all. I didn't for the first time in a very long time. I didn't read a physical book, I didn't read an ebook, I didn't listen to an audiobook, I didn't do anything. I was just busy with the date, as I mentioned. It was much more time consuming and difficult than initially expected. We thought that we were just going to go to a parking lot and then immediately walk up to go to the Kletterwald, but actually you had to go on a 1.5 hour long hike that was very, very, very steep in very, very, very hot weather, like 100 degrees, give or take, I'm not sure. It was boiling hot. I was not prepared. I was wearing my old Vans that give me blisters if I walk in them for too long because I didn't think I would really need them. I kind of thought I'm going to be up in the forest, I'm going to be hooked into things, I'm really not going to care what shoes I'm wearing as long as they have good traction. So I picked those ones. I should have picked my hiking boots. And I'm very dead today. Very, very, very exhausted, but it was really fun. I'll like put in clips so you've already seen what we've done and everything, but it was a good time and I did have a ton of fun and I enjoyed it, but I did not have any time to read. And also Friday, I can't really remember what I read. I think I listened to a little bit of Iron Flame, which by the way, as of filming this video, is due in 3 hours. I am not going to finish it because I don't think I'm more than 73-74% of the way finished with it. I think I only listened to maybe 1%, maybe 2% on Friday. I did not do that much. Honestly, I was just playing with the PlayStation again. As I mentioned, it's due in 3 hours and I don't think I'm gonna finish it. So at this point in time, I have to see if I can find anywhere else, but I don't think I can. My library really only has like 4 copies and there's like 100 people waiting for them right now. And so if I put a hold on it, again, I'm gonna have to wait probably 6 months, if not even more, before I can get this book again. I feel like at that point in time, I'm not even interested in listening to it anymore. So I don't know. I just don't like this book enough to spend any money on it. Like literally, not even if I could find it for just €5, I would not even spend €5 on it because I just don't like it that much to have it be in my collection for forever. Like if I buy a book, I want to keep it and I want to reread it. And I don't see myself ever rereading this one. I could see myself rereading the first one, Fourth Wing, but not this one. I really, really liked the first one and I just don't like this one. And I also read on my Kindle, it's currently open right now. It says I have 6 hours and 42 minutes left in this book, Dark Shores. It's kind of unfortunate. I would have hoped it would be less by now. But I'm 42% finished with Dark Skies and 34% finished with Dark Shores. Yeah, hopefully, I'm really, really, really hoping I'm going to be finished with these books by the end of this month, which means I've got 3 days as of today. It's the 28th. So actually 3 days and then today also, so technically 4 days. I think, please don't quote me on that. I never know what day it is, especially not when I'm not in university. Like I just lose all track of time. I just know that I work, on like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. Like I don't know the actual date. The only time I ever know dates is when I'm in a semester and I'm not in one right now, so it's out of my brain. But I'm really hoping I'm going to be finished with these 2 by the end of this month. I also really wanted to be finished with Iron Flame by the end of this month, but seeing as that's a 28-hour long audiobook and I'm still barely over 70% of the way finished, I don't think that that's happening before the end of this month. I do think it's feasible for me to finish Dark Skies and Dark Shores by the end of this month. So that's my goal for the next 4-ish days, 3.5 really by now. Yeah, so we'll see. I think next week I'm going to do kind of the same thing. Monday through Sunday, I'm going to see how much I can possibly read because next week I think I should have simultaneously a little bit more time and also a little bit less time on certain days depending on when it is. There might be full days next week where I'm hanging out with my friend who's visiting from Mexico, where I'm not going to have any time to read at all. But then there might be full days where truly I don't have anything to do, which is kind of unusual. Normally I have like at least one thing that I have to do. And for me personally, as an introvert and as somebody who just gets overwhelmed, I guess, I don't know, social anxiety you could call it. Like if I've got one thing in the day, I can't think about anything other than that, and I'm spending the time before it preparing for it, and then I'm spending the time after recovering from it. And so if I have one thing in a day, it kind of throws my whole day off balance. And it's so stupid, but I feel like it's better to have a ton of stuff on one day and then absolutely nothing the next day. Then I actually get more accomplished than having just one thing every single day consistently. So next week, I'm hoping I'll get a little bit more reading done. And I really, really wanted to read the Mediator series, and I actually found it. I do have the possibility to read it like right now. I could borrow the first book immediately, but I don't want to start on it until I finish Dark Skies and Dark Shores, and then I will borrow it, an ebook version of it. So I think probably I'll do that next week, because I'm really hoping within the next 3 days I'm going to finish Dark Skies, Dark Shores, and then I can start on the Mediator series finally, because I really wanted to read that this week, but I was just trying to get everything else done first. Also, I have Once Upon a Broken Heart on my library, and people are already in line behind me, and I've not even started, but fingers crossed, knock on wood. But I do think I'm going to like that one a lot, and since it's only 10 hours, I think I'm gonna finish it very quickly. I think there's a possibility I could even finish it in like 2 or 3 days. So yeah, but I think that's gonna have to be next week, depending on when I can finish these 2 books.